Netflix just released a new show created by the creator of The Office, Greg Daniels, and Steve Carell, Space Force, and I watched it in one day. My name is Johan, and this is Save the Popcorn. So, on May 29th, Netflix released Space Force, which is a 10 episode comedy series on Netflix, directed by the creators of The Office, Greg Daniels and Steve Carell as well. I believe he was a producer as well as an actor in the show. And I watched it, as I mentioned in the intro, in one day because it was that good. Now, was it the best comedy show that I've ever seen in the past few years or months, even? Probably not, but it's pretty good. So, let's get into what made the show good and what were the possible drawbacks of this TV show. One of the things that was really good was obviously the cast. I mean, this was the thing that pulled my interest into the show in the first place. When I saw the trailer and I saw all the actors that were performing in this, I was really excited about it. I did a video on YouTube as well talking about the cast, so I won't go into them again. But Steve Carell, Ben Schwartz, Lisa Kudrow, John Malkovich, all really good actors that we've seen in other stuff, and to see them all together in this was great. Before I talk about the main characters, let's talk about Ben Schwartz, who plays the role of F. Tony. Now, you may know this guy who as playing the character of John Ralphio on Parks and Recreation, but seeing him in this was so funny, so hilarious. He plays the PR manager of the Space Force unit in the Space Force Armed Forces, and it's just so funny the way he talks and the way he does his things. The Space Force is another branch of the armed forces that the president or POTUS has called upon, and the show kind of makes fun of the way the president of the United States of America is kind of dealing with the armed forces right now. They don't ever mention his name, of course, but then they make a lot of crude references, like the way he uses Twitter a lot, which is another thing that I really liked about the show. They don't go overboard with the references. They keep it to a minimum. Like, for example, some of the references they make about POTUS and his Twitter usage is that, the Joint Chiefs, so the Armed Forces Chief, the Navy, the Secretary of Defense, they gather around a general table to talk about strategy after the tweet has gone live. So they make subtle references like that, which is really interesting and funny to watch because it's just funny to see all these great comedians in a round table talking about how to deal with a Twitter barrage from the president. This show is really relevant for 2020 because I remember reading a couple of articles saying that the president was involving colonization of space and that's going to be a thing soon in the future. China and Russia are racing to get their troops on space too. And Netflix does this weird thing where everything they do is weirdly relevant for the time. Like a couple of months back, they released a documentary on pandemic, and it was like perfect timing for this pandemic that we're going through right now. This show makes fun of the current situation so well. Like some references were that the postal service is becoming obsolete. They get into this whole 60-second bit about how there's no longer any postal service, and this is an issue that actually has been addressed by a lot of news articles and comedians too. John Oliver did an episode on the decline of the US Postal Service. What's another interesting tidbit about this show is that I recognize that Paul Lieberstein wrote one of the episodes. I'm not sure how many episodes he wrote exactly, but I definitely noticed one of the episodes he wrote. Paul Lieberstein played Toby in The Office. Let's get into the characters and the dynamics and the relationships in this story. So, the first main dynamic relationship in this TV show is the relationship between Steve Carell and John Malkovich. So Steve Carell plays this Army General Mark Ned, who is the head of the Space Force, and he has to work alongside a chief scientist played by John Malkovich, and he plays a doctor called Dr. Mallory. And it's this constant struggle, between the chief general of the Space Force and the head scientist, science versus the military and the way they combine. So this relationship between the two is really fun to watch. It reminds me a lot of Michael Scott and Toby, where they have to work with each other but they hate each other. And it brought me back those vibes. So the fact that Steve Carell himself was, playing this character, and Paul Lieberstein wrote one of those episodes, it's almost full circle, to be honest. The show makes fun of the current climate a lot, and one of the dialogues from this show that really resonated with me was when John Malkovich says that when human beings forget how bad polio is, they stop taking vaccines. And if you forget wars too fast, you start puffing out your chest and you start committing war crimes. And this show touches on that a lot. There's always a race between US and China and Russia over colonizing space, and India too. There was a whole episode where they talked about India's space force. And the show did a really good job of making fun of how silly the idea of colonizing space is. And I think they succeeded in that because they made it hilarious. Another interesting dynamic relationship that was prevalent in this story was the relationship between father and daughter. The father being the general of the Space Force, Mark Ned, and his daughter, Erin. And there was this really nice, touching story of, a daughter who never gets to see her father because he's always working for, the Space Force. And it was interesting to see how they played that out. They didn't do it too much in a cliched way, I believe. In terms of slapstick comedy and in terms of silly bits, there were a lot, and they were quite funny, to be honest. I read a lot of reviews saying that, this show was a hit or miss and leaning towards a miss, but I don't believe it was. Like, a lot of the silly stuff that people are complaining about in this show is actually pretty funny. Like, they do a whole sequence of how they send a chimpanzee and a dog to space. There's a whole scene where the Space Force has to communicate with the chimpanzee, and they're trying to communicate. They're trying to use sign language and they're trying to use monkey language. And it's just a hilarious sequence that you have to look out for. The only drawback that I can mention is that sometimes there were certain small storylines that I feel weren't picked up on even at the end of the show. Maybe they are leaving it for the next season, I'm not too sure, but certain storylines were not explained completely and certain details were just kind of forgotten. And I'm not too sure what the idea behind that was. Maybe there's a pickup next season for it, but that was one of the drawbacks, that was one of the pet peeves I had. I usually have while watching a show. I want everything to have a payoff at the end, but some things didn't have a payoff. So that would be one drawback that I have for this show, at least the first season. All in all, it was a great show to watch. I mean, the performances of the cast was amazing. Ben Schwartz is like slowly becoming one of my favorite actors right now. John Malkovich never ceases to surprise me. I mean, he does every role so well, and he has a very distinct voice. I believe he narrated the Barcelona documentary series on Netflix too, and he has a distinct voice, and it just fits, as a role of a scientist. And there are a lot of different relationships happening in the story. It's not just about Mark Ned, that's Steve Carell's character. There's a lot of different storylines going on. It's not just, one main character, and the whole show revolves around him, even though he does appear in a lot of the scenes. Greg Daniels has done a good way of writing a screenplay that involves everyone. So it's really I wouldn't say it's an ensemble cast, but judging by the quality of the cast members, you could say it very much is. So all in all, it was a great show to watch. I finished it in one day and I do not regret it at all. It was great. I didn't feel like it was a job for me to watch it all. I just wanted to head on to the next episode immediately as I finished one. In terms of a season 2, I like the way they ended this season. It's not a cliffhanger ending, and it's also not a too satisfying ending. They leave just enough room for there to be a lot of development for season 2. So I'm really excited for season 2 already, even though the show has been out for literally one day at the time of recording this. So if you want my opinion on it, I'm ready for season 2. I'm already pumped up about it, and they could do a lot more, and I'm really excited to see what they have in the future. If you want to listen to full episodes of the Save the Popcorn podcast, check out the description below to find links to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and whichever platform you choose to listen to your podcast from. If you enjoy watching short clips like these on this channel, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell to be notified when I upload a new video. Thanks for watching.